Welcome to Learn Tech Today English. Learn today, understand better, and succeed tomorrow.
Welcome to Learn Tech Today English. Today, we're doing a sort of software update for your mind. We're looking at a fantastic explainer based on the profound wisdom of a former engineer turned monk, Gar Gopal Das, all about building an unsinkable mental ship. We spend so much of our time trying to control the world around us, navigating the choppy waters of our careers, relationships, and daily stresses. But what if the secret to staying afloat isn't about controlling the ocean, but about building a better ship? Let's get right into it. So let's dive into a historical mystery. Why did the Titanic really sink? Most people just think, well, the iceberg, obviously. But materials scientists actually discovered something super fascinating about the ship's internal structure. Think about it. The water that helps a ship sail is the exact same water that causes it to sink if it gets inside. So how did it get inside? It turns out the Titanic had some serious internal failures. The ship was held together by 3 million rivets. In the center, they used solid steel, but in the bow, the part that actually hit the iceberg, they used much weaker hand-cast iron rivets, simply because they were easier to install on those curves. When the collision happened, the pressure literally popped those iron heads right off, unzipping the hull. And this perfectly illustrates our core concept today. Just like those weak iron rivets, our own poor internal mental construction is usually what causes us to sink when we hit life's inevitable icebergs. We constantly blame the bad boss, the commute, the bills, but if our internal rivets aren't strong, any external pressure is going to make us crack. Moving on to section 1, you are not Sophia, the reality of being human. The author talks about a wild encounter he had at a speaking event with Sophia. You know, that famous humanoid robot? She looked human, sounded human, and even gave these incredibly eloquent answers. But here's the stark contrast. Humanoids like Sophia are static. They just possess artificial intelligence and mimic programmed responses to praise or criticism. They don't actually feel anything. Humans, on the other hand, are dynamic, sentient beings. We're naturally designed to feel pain, joy, and sorrow. Yet society conditions us to act like robots, pretending we don't feel anything when things go wrong. But guys, we aren't made of wires and code. Suppressing our dynamic human emotions just doesn't work. Which brings us to section 2, the 3-step framework: feel, deal, and heal. Since we are sentient beings, we absolutely need a practical way to process all these complex emotions. Step 1 is feel. Take a look at Dr. Susan David's emotional agility table here. We really need to expand our vocabulary to correctly label our feelings. Instead of just saying, I'm sad or I'm mad, you need to get specific. Are you disappointed, regretful, disillusioned? Accurately naming the emotion takes it from being this massive, scary cloud of negativity and turns it into a specific, manageable data point. So the workflow goes like this. First, feel, label and rate the emotion. Second, deal, identify the root cause and implement a solution. And third, heal, allow yourself the time to actually recover. The author tells this hilarious story about an engineering student dealing with mosquitoes. He found a hole in his mosquito net, and instead of sewing it up, he cut another hole, ran a garden hose between them, and made a tube so the mosquitoes would fly in one end and right out the other. It's ridiculous, sure, but it proves the point. You have to actively design a solution. You can't just stare at the hole in your net. And that leads us to the most profound step: heal. As this quote beautifully puts it, healing doesn't mean the damage never existed. It means the damage no longer controls our lives. There's an old story of a boy who hammered a nail into a fence every time he lost his temper, then pulled one out for every day he kept his cool. Eventually, the nails were gone, but the fence was still full of holes. Emotional wounds leave scars, you guys. Pulling the nail out, dealing with the issue, is necessary, but those holes take real time to fade. We have to be incredibly patient with ourselves during that process. Let's shift gears to section 3, stuck in economy. The missing syndrome. We've talked about handling internal emotions, but what about the anxiety triggered by constantly looking at everyone else's lives? Let's look at a modern iceberg we all crash into: FOMO. It stems from the missing syndrome, which is the mind's natural protective tendency to constantly look at what is absent. Evolutionarily, scanning the horizon for a missing food source kept us alive. But today, social media completely hijacks this trait. It acts like a slot machine in your pocket, dangerously amplifying this syndrome, so we're constantly comparing our everyday, behind-the-scenes reality to everyone else's filtered highlight reels. To overcome this FOMO, you have to remember the brilliant analogy of the cup versus the coffee. The cup represents our external status, our jobs, our money, material possessions. But the coffee? That represents the actual quality of our life, our relationships, our inner joy, our purpose. Imagine a group of alumni visiting a professor. He offers them coffee, bringing out some exquisite crystal cups and some cheap plastic ones. Everyone obviously grabs the fancy cups, completely forgetting that what they actually came for was the coffee. In life, we stress so much over the cup we're holding that we completely forget to taste and enjoy the coffee inside.
All right, Section 4, the mischievous child, taming mental chatter. We all know that constant involuntary monologue playing inside our heads, right? The one that reminds you of something embarrassing you did 5 years ago, exactly when you're trying to fall asleep. The author compares this cluttered, restless mind to a mischievous child named Joshua, who just never sleeps. It's constantly running away, bringing pressure and distraction into our consciousness. We spend 24 hours a day with this inner voice, and if we don't learn how to parent it, it's going to turn from our best friend into our absolute worst enemy. So how do we parent this mischievous child? If your mind is throwing a tantrum, try these 4 strategies. First, neglect. Consciously choose to ignore thoughts that just don't deserve your attention. Put them on silent mode. Second, note it down. Write down recurring thoughts to filter out what's an actual urgent call versus what's just a tantrum. Third, negotiate. Redirect your mind to something genuinely engaging or energizing. And fourth, neutral observation. Take a few minutes every single day to just sit back and observe your thoughts without any judgment whatsoever. Just let them flow by. Finally, Section 5, building your mental ship, resilience, and metabolism. Okay, so how do we actually upgrade the hardware of our mental ship? It all comes down to mental metabolism. This is our unique individual capacity and speed for processing the emotional issues we face. Just like physical digestion, we process emotional weight at entirely different speeds. You might shrug off harsh criticism in 5 minutes, while your friend might need 5 days. Neither of you is wrong. It is absolutely crucial that we recognize our own processing speed and stop judging our progress against someone else's timeline.
So how do we strengthen it? Think of it like going to the gym. You wouldn't ego lift 300 pounds on your first day, right? You start small. Begin with self-forgiveness. Practice a daily gratitude meditation. Carve out a silent space for just being instead of always doing. And crucially, seek expert support when the box is just too heavy to carry alone. Whether it's friends, a therapist, or a doctor, true strength is knowing exactly when you need a spotter. I want to leave you with this incredible thought. Why fail the difficult exam of life by copying someone else's answers when you have a completely different question paper? Stop comparing your unique journey to everyone else's highlight reel. Focus on fortifying the rivets of your own ship, and remember that true fulfillment comes from mastering the mind you already have. If you found this explainer helpful, please like, share, and subscribe to Learn Tech Today English. Turn on the bell icon so you never miss our latest updates. See you in the next learning video.